One of America's newer racetracks, Iowa Speedway, located in Newton, Iowa, has been in operation since 2006. The 7/8 mile oval was designed and built under the auspice of NASCAR champion Rusty Wallace at a cost of approximately $70 million. The D-shaped oval is patterned after Richmond Raceway, the scene of some of Rusty's greatest successes during his career. Purchased by NASCAR in 2013, Iowa Speedway has a seating capacity of more than 30,000. Together with unique multi-tiered RV viewing areas along its 869-foot backstretch. The track hosts NASCAR Xfinity Series, Craftsman Trucks, ARCA events annually, along with IndyCar Series and Firestone Indy Lights races. Starting in 2024, the NASCAR Cup Series makes its debut at the track, giving truth to the saying, if you build it, they will come. It's the Iowa Speedway 140, presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Iowa Speedway for tonight's, Iowa Speedway 140, presented by skunkworksgraphics.com. Davidson Builders Truck Series trucking along in their season. Tonight's race detail, 69-degree ambient temperature, 85% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a little bit of a breeze at 7 miles per hour, and a 71-degree track temp that is likely to continue to fall. 60% fuel capacity tonight, and I believe 2 sets of tires maximum. We'll confirm that here in just a moment. In fact, yes, indeed, 2 sets of tires for the drivers to work with this evening. Qualifying already underway, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go trackside and watch this session unfold. Joe Tucker still on the racetrack after his provisional pole speed, 23.39 seconds. Evan Dupre on the racetrack. First lap for Dupre, 23.92. And a 23.48 puts Dupre second quick. Again, it is the Iowa Speedway 140, presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, where all your graphical dreams come true. You need a logo or something of that sort, check those guys out, skunkworksgraphics.com. Speaking of Skunkworks, the 6 of Caleb Sisk out of turn number 4, a 23.54 on lap 1, crosses the stripe to finish his second lap, and it's P1, 23.334 for Caleb Sisk in the 6. See how long it lasts for the time being. He's on the provisional pole. Jesse Sperling out on the racetrack at 23.67 for lap 1, puts him in P5. Sperling back to start finish here, crosses the line, goes P7. P3 after the lap counts, 23.480. Caleb Sisk still on the provisional pole. Jeff Ottinger in 3 and 4, 23.64 lap 1. Lap 2 does seem to be faster for a lot of drivers here tonight. See if it is for Ottinger. 23.607, faster but does not improve. About a half-tenth quicker. Zach Millett out on the racetrack. Millett fastest in practice. Millett sporting a different sponsor this week. TLDR SimSport entry. 7th quick for Millett first lap, 23.539. Back across the stripe, Zach Millett, second fast, 23.364. 0.3 off the pole position. PJ Cox in the 05 machine off turn 4, 23.54, puts him 10th quick. Lap 2, let's see if it's any quicker, 23.47. Big jump, 5th fast for PJ Cox. First lap for Derek Welch at 23.66. He sits just outside the top 10 for the time being. Handful of drivers haven't taken a lap just yet. Got a 10-minute qualifying session. We're just past the first 5 minutes. Derek Welch out of 4. Second lap for Welch. Doesn't register. That's going to do it for the number 1 machine. Alfie Charon out on the track, the number 9 HBR TV machine. First lap for Alfie at 23.58, puts him P12. Looks nice and smooth on the exit of turn 2. We'll see what he can improve with here on his second lap. Across the stripe. Second quick. Knocks Zach Millett off the front row. 23.335 for Alfie Charon. Seems that may wrap it up for the time being. Get a handful of drivers still not taking a time here in qualifying. With that, we're going to step aside, get a break out of the way here from the sponsors, and we'll be back after this. Stay with us.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway for tonight's Iowa Speedway 140, presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, where all your graphical dreams come true. Let's take a look at our starting grid for tonight's race. On the pole position with a lap time of 23.334 seconds, it's the 6 of Caleb Sisk. Outside front row, it's Alfie Charon running an almost identical lap time. You see it there, the differential, .000. That means we had to go all the way out to the 10,000s to determine the pole sitter, but outside front row, it's the 9 of Alfie Charon. Row number 2, it's Zach Millett going to the rear after the start of this race, or at the start of the race, for incidents occurring last week at Bristol Dirt. Joe Tucker is going to start outside row number 2 in the 4th spot. Connor Leach will start from the 5th position. PJ Cox starts in the 6th spot. 7th goes to Jesse Sperling. Evan Dupre starts 8th. Brian Torsha, the number 81, will start in the 9th spot. 10th starter Brandon Coleman in the number 19. Chris Klein, the 51, starts 11th. Mark Collins, the 23, will start from the 12th position. 13th starter Jeff Ottinger, the number 76, with Russ Kilgore in the 7, starting in the 14th position. The 1 of Derek Welch rolling off in the 15th spot. Skylar Harrod, Skunkworks Racing driver, the number 3, starting 16th. 17th starter, it's Scott Milner. D. Allen Grote, the 14, will start 18th. Jacob Sperling, the number 88 truck, will start in the 19th position. 20th goes to Jesse Redding. Paul Durkee in the 13 will start from the 21st position. 22nd goes to Rob Chipman Jr. 23rd, Justin Morrow in the number 46. And Tom Barish will start in the 24th position. 25th and 26th not in the session here this evening. The field of 24 trucks starting to roll through turns 1 and 2, actually already working down the backstretch. We'll have 2 pace laps to set the field and get everybody formed up the way that they need to be here at Iowa. While we've got everybody here keyed up, getting ready for the start to this race, gotta ask you guys, if you're watching, find that like button in the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@HBRTV, the number 1. Click the like button. It helps us more than you know. It's free to do. I'm that guy, I just like my own stream, but if you could just follow suit, we got a bunch of you in here watching, I would appreciate it. Field formed up nicely on the back straightaway. 2 pace laps on tracks a mile and less. Early birds in the stream chat, Terry Crouch, let's go Millett. Chastity Tucker saying, let's go Tucker. Imagine that.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air, and we're racing from Iowa Speedway. Lap 1 in the books, Caleb Sisk out in front of Alfie Charon. Tucker working to the outside of the 71 of Connor Leach. That's for the 3rd spot. Now battle for the race lead. Alfie Charon dips the nose below the 6 on a turn number 2. Might go for it again here in 3. Nosing out to the front is the 9 of Alfie Charon. Charon always hot out of the box. Putting the hammer down here, trying to take it over here, leads this lap, gets those bonus points. Sisk drops out for just a second with an internet connection problem, but just as quickly it comes back in. Charon out in front, Sisk running second. Again, this is going to be a race of attrition. A lot of fuel conservation to be concerned with. Got to take care of those tires as well. Only 2 sets available over the pit wall tonight. Fuel windows 48 to 52 laps. You may see someone stretch it maybe to 53, but I doubt that. We'll see. right on board with Caleb Sisk. Joe Tucker applying pressure here, taking a peek to the outside, nothing available. Sees one truck coming in behind, that's Connor Leach. He closes the door on the 71. Leach taking a look to the inside of Joe Tucker. Just a look, nothing doing really there. The 29 truck of Jesse Sperling was looking to the outside, quickly changes lanes, now back to the inside on Connor Leach. Takes the spot away, moves Sperling up to the 4th spot, Leach back to P5. Sperling on a tear here as Joe Tucker's gone around Caleb Sisk. Jesse Sperling trying to do the same. Does so with ease. Moves Sisk back to P4 from pole position. Now some of you newcomers might be wondering what's going on with the 6. He's dropping back quickly. We're only 9 laps in. He started this race on pole and he's, well, back in the 4th position. Caleb's taking care of his stuff. That's what he's doing. Jesse Redding running back in the 20th position, just in behind of Zach Millett. Millett working the outside in some unfamiliar colors on that truck this week. 315 running the TLDR Sim Sport sponsorship. Higher ups at HBR TV thinking it might be best to sit one race out for Zach Millett after incidents occurring last week. Just to expand on that a little bit further, Millett, again, having to go to the rear of the field on the start, also giving up 5 points in the championship standings for incidents occurring last week at Bristol Motor Speedway in the final lap with Hunter Parsons. Millett, again, starting at the tail, up into the 18th position to this point. Up 15 spots. Down 15 spots effectively, sorry. It's whole minus and plus. It doesn't work out for me. I'll be all right. In behind him, though, Scott Milner in a battle with Chris Klein. In the 58 of Rob Chipman Jr. Correction, it's the 55 of Tom Barish. White and blue machine just ahead of Chris Klein. Milner's lost a few spots in that exchange. At least, well, it looks like 4 spots he's given up. Jesse Redding, Brandon Coleman, Chris Klein, Tom Barish, all getting around the 31 here. Back out front, Alfie Charon still out in the race lead here, about a full second ahead of Joe Tucker in the 35. Jesse Sperling runs 3rd. Caleb Sisk still hanging on to the 4th position. Brian Torsha in P5. Torch up about 4 spots into that top 5 position, the number 81 Columbia entry. PJ Cox just getting around Russ Kilgore for the 6th position. PJ back up to where he started here tonight. Again, fuel window 48 to 52 laps, depending on how aggressive or passive the driver wants to be with taking care of the fuel. Jesse Redding battling on the bottom, the number 21. Rob Chipman Jr. in the 58, the blue machine up top. Tom Barish tucks in behind, so does Scott Milner. Back and forth they go. Tom Barish and Rob Chipman Jr. exchanging positions, but now Barish losing the spot to the 31 of Milner. Chipman Jr. way up the racetrack, almost putting the right sides in the safer barrier. Stays off the wall, at least for now. Keeps running that line, though. Just going to be a matter of time before he scrapes the right side against the outside wall. Jeff Ottinger in the number 76, taking a peek on the inside. Derek Welch off turn number 2. Welch able to maintain the spot for now. About a half truck length between him and the 76. Ottinger goes down low once again. Welch stays up the racetrack. You got Evan Dupre in the 47. He's running that middle lane. This place does kind of run like a big Richmond, but it's pretty wide considering its quote unquote short track status. As you can see there in the last couple of laps of watching this battle, they were able to run 3 different lanes. Not that I'd suggest going 3 wide here, but I think it's possible in the right circumstance. Brian Torsha slips back a couple of spots from P5 into the 7th position. Still higher than where he started today, but he's given up a couple. BJ Cox and then Connor Leach both taking those positions away from Torsha. Torsha running in the 7th spot ahead of Russ Kilgore in the 7 in the Miller High Life machine. "24 laps in, now 25 as Sharon crosses the stripe. He had as much of as a full second advantage over Tucker not too long ago, but at the start-finish line it shrunk. Now it's grown again to just a second. Now down the backstretch into turn 3. It comes down once again. I think Alfie's backing up his corners compared to Joe Tucker. Tucker might be driving it in a bit deeper. 3/4 of a second the advantage now. Tucker trying to reel in the 9. Caleb Sisk now back up in the 3rd position after slipping back to 4th or 5th. Trying to catch some of the battles on the racetrack. Everybody's settled into a good rhythm, into a good groove. Alfie still out in front, but continues to shed some of that advantage he had on the 35 of Tucker. It's now just under 7/10. Tucker's closing in. You gotta wonder if Alfie's burned up his stuff here a little bit too early on. Just in behind the 35, starting to reel him in. Again, the 13 is the 35. Don't let that fool you. It looks like Joe's in the wrong paint scheme this week. "30 laps in, we're still about 18 laps minimum away from green flag pit stops if we get to the green flag stops. Hopefully we do. Certainly don't want to see cautions here, but in a place like Iowa, it's certainly possible. Derek Welch running into the top 10 now. Evan Dupre runs 9th. Derek up 5 positions. Paul Durkee in behind the 1 in the 13 truck. He's up 10 spots. He's about to lose one, though, as Zach Millett has worked his way into the top 11 as he works his way around Durkee. Takes that position away. Millett still challenging, still working his way towards the front. This early, long green flag run is exactly what Millett needed to see. Got Tucker family in the stream chat as well, saying let's go Tucker. Derek Welch next on the list for Zach Millett. Close the gap and make the pass, and Welch knows it as he dives to the bottom here, trying to get around the 47. Thought he was going to go try to get Kilgore as well, but he doesn't get either of them at this point. Still a nose alongside Dupre. These two being side by side, it's going to certainly slow the pace of Zach Millett in behind, but it will also allow him to catch up. Try to put more pressure on the 1 as he tries to get around the 47. Millett working way to the outside. Welch trying to cheat up just a bit. Welch goes high now as Millett crosses over back to the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if the 315 can complete the pass on the 1 and then go after Dupre. And Zach Millett does it. Moved the 315 up into the top 10 here. It took him 36 laps, but Derek Welch battling back on the outside. And Millett's downshifting. Just heard that. Millett grabbing 3rd gear. Middle of turns 3 and 4. Let's do the same thing in the middle of 1 and 2. It's certainly going to help us drive off, but I don't know if that's going to be the best plan for saving fuel. Maybe he's not concerned with that right now. Millett alongside Evan Dupre as they come back to the stripe. Continue to watch this battle. We have had a change for position towards the front of the field. Caleb Sisk has gone around Joe Tucker, taking over that 2nd spot. Now sits just about 3.5 tenths off the back bumper of Alfie Sharon, closing back in. We talked about this early on in this run, how the 6 dropped back pretty considerably right off the get-go. Back to the 4th or 5th position. Likely just trying to save tire. Maybe a little bit of fuel, and he did just that, but here he is after saving all that tire, drives back to the front, gets alongside Alfie Sharon in the middle of 3 and 4. He may be clear, and not quite. Sharon battling back on the outside. 40 laps in already. Quarter distance here from Iowa. Got Lori Vickers in the chat. Sperling brothers, Jesse and Jake, let's go. Lori, thanks for checking in. There's still more of you out there watching, I know it. I can see how many are watching. Don't be shy. Jump in that stream chat. Just keep it PG. You know, for the kids. Caleb Sisk finally clear of Alfie Charon. Charon back to P2. Sisk is able to take care of his tires quite well on the early going. Starting to show now as he's got 3 or 4 car lengths on the 9. Truck lengths, that is. Zach Millett having a whale of a battle here with the 47 of Evan Dupre for the 9th spot. Coming in behind there is the 13 of Paul Durkee. Half a truck length off the back bumper of Zach Millett. Millett still alongside the 47 into turn 3. Finally gets clear. Don't know if 47 will have a run out of 4 or if Millett can slide up the track, and he does. Blocks off the run. Millett now to the 9th spot. Russ Kilgore next. Kilgore is working on the 81 of Brian Torsha. Lap 43 up on the board. We're going to start to see some green flag stops here in a handful of laps. And I suspect it's going to be a fuel-only stop for everybody. You might see a couple of guys gamble on a set of tires, but again, we'll be just past quarter distance. Those pit stops start to get going here. I don't know if you want to take tires. You want to save them for later. You're going to be, well, you're going to run like dog food, so to speak, with the old tires still on if you're going to double stint those to give you some road racing terms. But I think you kind of have to. You got to save a couple of sets for later on. You might get one about halfway, then maybe skip another pit stop and go fuel only in that final stop of the race. Maybe you bolt on that final set and go. Or maybe you gamble with right sides only. I don't necessarily recommend that, but some guys do it. Depending on how late in the race you make that final stop, it can pay off. Joe Tucker has slipped from the 2nd spot all the way back to P7 here as Millett goes on by. Now moves Millett up into the 6th position. Now, if anybody's going to take tires on this first stop, I almost imagine Zach Millett might opt to do it. It may not necessarily be the best strategy call to do that, but given that he started from the rear and had to fight his way through this field, he burned up those tires. There's just no doubt about it. They're going to be hot. They're going to be worn. Now, ultimately, that's going to be up to him and his crew as to whether or not they bolt on that first of 2 sets of tires. It's going to be a long midsection of the race if he waits to bolt the last set on in between, but he's going to be lightning in a bottle here if he puts a set on this time. Lap 48 up on the board. Pay attention. We may see pit stops starting to unfold. And there it is, Joe Tucker, one of the first. Russ Kilgore is going to follow him down into pit lane. There's a few of them. PJ Cox, Joe Tucker, Russ Kilgore, Jeff Ottinger, Jesse Redding, all in the pits. Tucker's going to take tires. Right side's going on. Crew around to the left. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel for Joe Tucker. Close contact there. There was a little bit of contact really between Tucker and Russ Kilgore. Kilgore gets out of pit lane first. And some of the leaders are down pit road here. Caleb Sisk, Jesse Sperling, Alfie Charon, Zach Millett, and others. Bit of traffic here in pit lane. Millett having to check up to not get into the 9. And Millett going fuel only. Alfie Charon's going to bolt right sides on at a minimum. It's probably going to be 4 for the 9. Charon down and away. 12.1 seconds. Right sides only for Alfie Charon. Trying this one out, I think. Meanwhile, Connor Leach out in front, 71. Still yet to make his pit stop. As you see, the top two drivers, the only ones on a lead lap. Milner in pit lane, though. Now, if I'm Connor Leach, I'm waiting for a caution if I can, but it doesn't look like he can. He's in pit lane, so Skylar Harrod. Leach may come out of this in a pretty good position. Came down pit lane as the race leader with a lap on the field. And Leach is going to go fuel only here, so it should not be long. Maybe 10, 12 seconds in the box, and he'll be down and away. It's 9.6. Leach went quite a ways. He came down lap 53. So Leach leaves pit lane, fuel only, and he comes out in the second spot, which is great. He still has tires to work with throughout the rest of the race, but there's some guys behind him that are going to have fresh rubber. Alfie Charon with fresh rights. Russ Kilgore looks like he got 4. Derek Welch, 4 tires. Paul Durkee, Jeff Ottinger, Joe Tucker with 4. Chris Klein, Mark Collins, Brandon Coleman, and Scott Milner. It's kind of about a 50-50 mix of those that either took no tires, right sides, versus those that took 4. So first round of green flag stops in the books. We're going to step aside here and get an HBR TV side-by-side break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
at Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Speedway 140 presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, where all your graphical dreams come true. Pit stops complete here. Alfie Charon back to the point. 2.3 seconds ahead of the 7 of Russ Kilgore. Caleb Sisk has jumped back into the 3rd position. Derek Welch 4th, Leach in 5th. Other notable, Zach Millett maintains his position within the top 10, running in the 9th spot. Again, Millett taking fuel only on his pit stop. Likely to suffer a bit in this run, but saves him a set of tires for later on in the race. Caleb Sisk dropping back just a bit now in the 4th position. Caleb taking no tires on his stop either, so he's lost out the drivers that have taken their tires. Charon with right sides only. Russ Kilgore, Derek Welch taking 4. Paul Durkee in the same situation in the 13 machine. He's going to reel in the 6 here as well, but pay no mind. It's going to pay off in the long run for these guys that went fuel only. Still have 2 sets to work with. Latter stages of this race. Connor Leach running back in the 6th position. Millett now back to 9th. Ryan Torsha is going to hit pit lane here. It seems like an early stop for Torch. Ryan Torsha agonizingly slow down pit lane. Torch is going to take right sides here as we're still about 10 laps shy of halfway. My assumption here is this may be his first set. I can't imagine he's going to short pit at this stage of the race if he took tires earlier. Torch 15.3 seconds. Evan Dupre also in the pit lane. This is interesting. I don't know if maybe they've got wind of a strategy that we haven't really thought of. Granted, I'm certainly no strategic genius. Dupre in the box. Oh, has to back it up just a hair. That's going to cost him some time, especially here under the green flag. Four tires in fuel for the 47 of Dupre. Seen these pit stops, I would say 20 to 22 laps earlier than we expected. At least if you're going to talk about fuel by itself. Kind of got to plan the strategy in these races around the fuel. Obviously, that first pit stop, we had a lot of guys opting for tires and a lot of guys opting just for fuel. So somebody's right, somebody's wrong. We just don't know who yet. Dupre now with some fresh rubber, gets to the inside of Zach Millett. And Dupre not on a lead lap currently, but with the fresh tires, I would expect him to work his way back through. Dupre's actually 2 laps down, so he's got some work to do. Again, I still don't understand the logic on coming as early as he did as far as taking those tires at lap 74 after pit stops started to happen at lap 48. 52, 53 was about the max anybody could have gone. I don't know if maybe they came down, got fuel only, realized, oh, that was a mistake, and decided I'm going to come down now and get my tires. But frankly, I would have just grin and bear it. Stay out there as long as you can, hope for a caution, and then take your tires. It's hard to make up for a decision, a strategic mistake, especially under the green flag, and not come out worse than you were. Meanwhile, PJ Cox, he's in pit lane again as well, also considerably earlier than we would expect. Figure lap 96 to 104 would be the next round of stops if we stayed under the green flag this entire time. So PJ Cox down about 16 laps prior, unless he's working this race backwards, kind of like a road race. Road course racing, you kind of plan your pit stops from the end and work your way to the start. In many cases, you'll see drivers trying to work that strategy. They'll come down, hit pit lane far earlier. They'll short pit far earlier than you would expect them needing to, at least as far as fuel goes. But that way they know that they can, A, definitely make it to the end, and they know how many pit stops it's going to take. Don't know if that's going to pay off here at Iowa Speedway, but time will tell, especially as we've just passed halfway. This race runs pretty clean. Half distance without any cautions to speak of. Russ Kilgore has taken over the top spot in the meantime. The top 3 drivers, Kilgore, Welch, and Durkee, all with fresh 4 tires on their pit stop. Kilgore made his pit stop at 48. Paul Durkee, Derek Welch. Everybody else, it was about lap 50. Connor Leach came in at lap 53. Again, he was the one that stayed out the longest. He still runs in the 6th position. .85 laps in here from Iowa Speedway. We're going to jump out and take another short break prior to pit stops, at least for the bulk of them. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at the Iowa Speedway 140, presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, where all your your graphical dreams come true. I'll be all right. It's only reading, right? Hooked on phonics. Let's do it. All right, back to the action. Russ Kilgore still out in front. Paul Durkee's jumped up into that second spot. Derek Welch third. Caleb Sisk, Connor Leach, the top 5. Lap 94 up on the board. Should start to see more pit stops in just a couple of laps. In fact, we got one already. Justin Morrow in the 46 in pit lane. Right sides go up in the air for Morrow. And 4 tires and fuel for the 46. He's down and away. Want to make note here in the stream chat, C. Bundy made a very interesting point as far as strategy goes. As I mentioned, I am not a strategic genius by any stretch of anyone's imagination. But he goes, if you took just enough fuel to get to lap 70 and then split the last stint, it's 45 lap stints with fresh stickies. And he's talking about sticker tires. I forget who we were referring to at that moment in time, but you get the idea. The math works out. Definitely not a bad strategy. 97 laps in. 12 trucks still on the lead lap. And we are in the middle of a pit cycle once again as the race leader, Russ Kilgore, comes down pit lane. It's going to give 13 of Paul Durkee the race lead. Now he's up 20 positions from where he started the night's race in the 21st spot. So Durkee got to be loving this now. A chance to lead some laps, gain some extra points. Meanwhile, Jeff Ottinger, Joe Tucker are going to come down pit road as well. Kilgore is going to go fuel only on this stop. His final stop likely to be his final set of tires. So he's going to have to grin and bear it for the next 50 laps or so. Or if he splits it in half like Bundy was talking about, you get the idea. Joe Tucker was very fast early on. He's in the pits right now in the 18th position. Tucker went fuel only this time. Derek Welch from the top 3. He's in the pits, as well as Connor Leach, Chris Klein. Skylar Harrod also in the pits. Let's see if Derek takes tires this round. He does. So he took his tires the last pit stop, and he's taking his last set now. So that means his final pit stop, which should come with about 10, maybe 8 laps to go if we don't get a caution, is going to be a splash and go for the one as he doesn't have any tires left. 14.9 and 0 seconds for the one. That's a good pit stop. Zach Millett down pit lane as well into that third pit stall. Millett bolting on his fresh tires as well. See, if I remember correctly, I don't think Millett took tires on his stop. So he should still have a set left. So if I'm Zach Millett here, you got to split those final 60 or 58 laps in this case in half. Bolt the final set on a little bit premature as compared to the fuel, but that way you can make sure you don't run out of gas here at the end of this thing. Have plenty of gas in that truck, plus fresh tires, and the caution comes out. What do we have? What do we have?
All on you. You make the call here.
Brandon Coleman's going to be the beneficiary here. He's just leaving pit lane. I still don't see what's triggered this yellow. Still trying to find it. And I've got no indication from iRacing that triggered this caution, just that it came out, nothing more. Very interesting. I don't know. I got nothing to show you guys. I'd love to give you the replay, but there's no indication that anybody got into a crash or anybody went off the racetrack. in order for iRacing to throw a caution because of an incident, it has to send that data to the server that runs the overlays. That's how I find out that it is under yellow. Ken Couch says, quote, "I just suck at pit strategy, obviously, by the way." Hey, Steve. Hi, Ken. Ken, are you even here? He's not in this race. He's just a viewer. Well, Ken, thanks for showing up and saying hello, at least. If anybody knows what put us under the caution, let us know. I'll see if we can go back and find it. In the meantime, we're going to get a commercial out of the way. It's just about everybody's finished their pit stops here. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway here, looks like we have found the culprit here of our caution. Joe Tucker involved in this with Jeff Ottinger, I believe. Certainly the 13 part of this. It wasn't much of an incident, but for whatever reason, Ottinger goes to the inside here into 3, and he gets down below. Contact with the 13. And it gets Joe Tucker crossed up pretty considerably. But a great save, honestly, by Joe Tucker, and he continues on. But that is the only incident on track that coincides with the yellow coming out. So I'll say that's the culprit of the caution. It was not an admin caution. It was enough to put us under the yellow. Didn't take much. Take one more quick look at it from the blimp. Unbelievable save. I mean, he was almost completely dead sideways. So, pace truck lights are off. We're going to go back green flag racing the next time by Russ Kilgore. Scott Milner going to lead everybody down. This has caught a lot of drivers into a bad situation here as we come back to the green flag. Lap 109 goes up on the board. Top 12 drivers on the lead lap. Those that get trapped a lap down during the pit cycle were Paul Durkee, Zach Millett, Brandon Coleman, Alfie Charon, Brian Torsha, Jesse Redding. Joe Tucker, of course, part of that incident. Kilgore making his pit stop at lap 97. He got in and out just in time. About 5 laps prior to the caution, so Kilgore in a good way right now. Again, didn't take tires on his stop. Mark Collins in the number 23, that black and green NTG F-150 applying pressure. He did take tires on the caution. He's going to take over the race lead here in just a moment. In fact, there it is. He gets clear of the 7 off turn 2. 50 laps to go from Iowa Speedway. Mark Collins out in front. Connor Leach in third. Talked about Kilgore losing that spot back to second. PJ Cox fourth. Derek Welch now fourth. And Zach Millett, he's going to have to work hard to get back on this lead lap. He's definitely going to need a caution if he's going to be in contention for this one. May be able to get the lap back on his own, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a whole circuit back. Oh, a little stack up, and there's the caution. Or is it? Nope. No caution. Should have been. So Joe Tucker brings the caution out initially for a half spin. Those two get in the wall and hammer it, and there's no yellow. Do better, iRacing. Do better. Tucker family says, quote, "That was an amazing save." Indeed it was. So while this continues to go on here, Green Flag Racing will go back and look at this incident here with Brandon Coleman. This one registered with iRacing but didn't trigger the flag. And there is the caution. Now it's out as Skylar Harrod and Joe Tucker again with trouble. Both of these drivers sliding off the racetrack. I don't know how that didn't bring out a yellow, but now we do have one. Skylar Harrod and Joe Tucker involved in this. Tucker looks okay. Skylar Harrod doesn't look terrible either, so whatever the incident was, not significant, but let's go back and take a look. Oh, okay, so that's a little more than just 2 guys. It was really 3 involved in this one. We'll back it up a little further. Brian Torsha getting into Joe Tucker pretty considerably down into turn 1. We'll watch it from the blimp here. Remember, Tucker's got the 46 to his outside, so he drops down to give him a little bit of room, which shuts the door a little bit here for the 81 of Torsha. Torsh has the run going down to the inside, and I don't know if he was just trying to turn it down to that yellow line in the bottom, but it doesn't want to turn on him, so he gets in the left rear of Tucker and sends him around. Tucker goes back up into the 81, puts him in the fence. Harrod just gets collected, innocent bystander. Bill Harkin says, serious iRacing caution delay. Yeah, no kidding. Well, second caution of the night. Mark Collins, your race leader, over Connor Leach, Derek Welch. Millett's going to get his lap back through this caution. And it'll put him 13th, the last truck on the lead lap. Now, the way this one's going, I think Millett's trying to save some fuel here. He may be good to the end. He may be trying to stretch this with this caution and not make that final stop. Still has a set of tires over the wall, but if you don't need to pit for fuel, don't bother coming down pit road at all. Bill Harkins being in the stream chat means he's probably watching. Bill, I did respond to your email. I haven't gone back to check as of today. Next time we respond here, I'm going to give you the Discord link if you don't already have it. That is probably the best way to get at me because I'm in there every single day. Email is certainly my weak point when it comes to running this broadcast platform. We'll be in touch, I promise. I see that you did respond, but either way. Enough business talk during the broadcast. Lights on the pace truck still ablaze. Mark Collins running his Jimmy Strong paint scheme. Should get the one to go the next time by. Mark Collins out of Castlewood, Virginia. And there you see it. Lights on the pace truck have been extinguished, which means the next time by will be green flag racing. So it'll be 41 laps to go when they get back to the line. Still might be touchy for fuel for some of these guys. They may still need another caution to make it all the way to the end. Zach Millett making his pit stop at lap 106. He might be good with this caution. I don't know. It's going to be tight. I still think he's going to have to save, but there's other drivers in that same boat. They're going to need to do the same. Scott Milner can stretch it maybe. Derek Welch, Tom Barish. Mark Collins, he's even in a situation where he may be able to save enough to make it to the end with this caution. We will see. As the pace truck pulls down pit lane into the Geico restart zone. Barney waves the green, and we're back racing from Iowa. Connor Leach with a run to the outside of Mark Collins. Big time run. Leach on fresh tires. So is Mark Collins, but it seems that Leach a little bit quicker. Derek Welch is going to go around the outside as well, take over the second spot. So now Connor Leach, Derek Welch, Mark Collins, your top three. Tom Barish runs fourth. Jesse Sperling into the top five. Welch with the race lead across the line here. Leach is going to drive it way deep into turn one. If I'm Welch, I'd cross over here. I don't know if the 71 can keep it on the bottom, and he did somehow. That was impressive. Leach drove it way deep into turn one and somehow made her stick. I thought Welch was going to cross him over and retake the lead, but Leach with the lead off turn four across the stripe. Lap 123 going up on the board. After the restart, looks like Evan Dupre had an issue out on the racetrack. He's back in pit lane here, likely for some repairs. Let's go back and see if we can find out what happened to the 47 just a moment ago. Again, on the restart. Oh, contact off the nose of Jesse Redding. And then tries to save it, and he gets clipped by the 88, it looks like. Sends him up the racetrack into the fence.
Yellow, yellow.
And the yellow has come out again. Not sure what for to this point. There's a stack up somewhere. And it looks like it may have been Connor Leach battling for the race lead with Derek Welch. In fact, here it is. Just a moment ago, while we were watching a different replay, this is what happened. Battling for the race lead, Derek Welch tries to turn in, but the 71's there, sends him into the wall, comes up the racetrack, collects Kilgore, and then the caution comes out. We'll watch this again a little slower this time. We'll go to the onboard of Derek Welch. We'll slow it down. Welch just turns in a little bit too soon by comparison to the 71. Leach comes back up the track after hitting the pit wall. Just barely misses Derek Welch, but hits the 7. Mark Collins is going to drive by on the bottom, so is Tom Barish. Caleb Sisk in pit lane. Now I'm curious here. Does the 6 have another set of tires? I know he might have some damage he wants to get repaired, but this would be an opportunity if he does have them, and he does. Right side goes in the air. Let's see if he takes 4 under caution. If he's got 4, I'd take him now. And he does. So 4 fresh tires going on the 6 of Caleb Sisk. He's going to hang there and get some body work repaired here. He's the last truck on the lead lap, so he doesn't need to worry too much about losing any more positions. Still a little bit of damage on that rear spoiler. And Sisk rejoins the race. Just in time to get out before losing a lap. So working our third caution of the evening, should get the 1 to go this time by. Give us a 31-lap sprint to the finish. And now at this stage of the race, I think everybody's good to go on fuel. Connor Leach, maybe not. His pit stop coming at lap 99. Interestingly, Leach stayed on the racetrack after that damage, after that crash. Truck doesn't look too terribly banged up considering. Guess that's going to be the question, though. Does the 71 number 1 have the pace after that damage to maintain with the race leaders? And does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? I know we've had a couple of cautions since his last pit stop. He might be in okay shape, but I think at this point, everybody else is definitely in good shape, lead lap-wise. Leach, the only driver making his pit stop prior to lap 100. Everybody else, I think the closest is lap 102, and that was Jesse Sperling. Everybody else is after that, 106, 115, 117. Of course, Caleb Sisk, Alfie Charon making their pit stop here lately at lap 126 and 127. Well, let's give it another go here as they work down the back straightaway, a half lap away from green flag once again. Mark Collins better be on his toes here. This 71 tries to fire off. You just hope that he's got enough get up and go. 7/8 mile racetrack here. You don't really have to worry too much about aero, though it does play a factor.
Green flag.
Flag is back in the air. Derek Welch leads him back to the stripe. Leach drives it way deep alongside Derek Welch. Well, there's that fire off we were talking about. Leach, even after the spin and the crash, managed to get alongside Derek Welch, but now it looks like he might be a little slow by comparison. Kilgore was in behind, has to change lanes, and now he's going to try and go around. I thought he was going to go up the middle there, make it 3 wide for a moment. Not to be. Oh, we got trouble. The 6 of Caleb Sisk is around off turn 2. Everybody looks to get by without an incident. Maybe some damage. A little bit more left rear damage on the 6. It's not terrible. But given where everybody is on the laps that they're on, I still think he may come down to try and get some repairs made. We'll see. Let's see what happened here to the 6 of Caleb Sisk. Oh, looks like he lost it on his own. Oh, he did get collected by Milner, though. Let's back it up, go slow, and watch this one, how it developed. I don't think he had help this time. Very rare mistake out of the 6 of Caleb Sisk. You do not see that happen very often. We'll slow it down. See, he's right on the seam there in that bottom lane. Upsets the balance of the truck. You see him trying to save it. It just keeps stepping out, keeps stepping out, keeps stepping out. And finally he's going to clip the bottom here below that yellow line. And there's not a whole lot you can do at that point. PJ Cox, does he get through? Maybe a little kiss. Sends him up the track. And pretty considerable contact from Milner, even though it was a side swipe. For the most part, drivers did a pretty good job avoiding the 6, seeing as how he's parked perpendicular to just about everybody else. Alfie Charon in the pits once again. Alfie's just topping off. He's got plenty of fuel. I don't know. Maybe he had some damage. So while we have the opportunity, we'll take another break. We'll be back with the restart after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway, it'll be 23 laps to go when we go back green flag racing, working our 4th caution of the event. Very clean race up until this point. Cautions breeding cautions. We talk about that so much when we cover these races, how they can run super, super clean for a while, and then you get one yellow late, and then you get a handful of them after that, because the guys are all on top of each other, close quarters battling. these things happen. In this case, it was the 6 of Caleb Sisk. Little oversteer, little loose condition. Around he went in front of traffic. Got the damage repaired. He's going to restart 11th on the lead lap. Still has a shot at this. Pace truck comes down pit lane.
Green flag.
Green back in the air. Derek Welch with a great restart. Jumps up the racetrack in front of Russ Kilgore. Ken Couch says, I can't spell. It's all right. I couldn't read earlier, so that's fine. Battle for the lead here. Russ Kilgore to the bottom of the racetrack. Welch running a different lane here. He's much faster on the high side. Carries a lot of momentum out of turn 4. Takes that spot back and a little bit then some. Truck length maybe 2 between the 1 and the 7 with 22 laps to go. Meanwhile, back in the 6th position, Zach Millett battling with Chris Klein for that top 5 position. To go from Iowa Speedway. Derek Welch still out in front over Russ Kilgore and starting to stretch out that lead. Half a second back to the 7. The 23 of Mark Collins runs 3rd. Tom Barish, Zach Millett, the top 5. Continue to watch this battle for that position. Millett now in behind Tom Barish. Chris Klein was trying to battle back too. He's still alongside, or at least somewhat. Connor Leach in behind Zach Millett. He's going to be on a tear. A little loose for Millett. Or maybe it was just a brash move to the inside of the 55, and he makes it pay. Connor Leach in behind, trying to go 3 wide out of turn number 4, and there's contact with Chris Klein. Leach straightens it out, overcorrects, and there's a big wreck off turn 4 on the main straightaway. It's going to collect a lot of drivers.
Did you happen to get a look at your temps when you're on track right after that?
Carnage here on the front straightaway. Connor Leach with a very, very aggressive move up the cut. Contact was made with Chris Klein. And then the process of trying to save it, that's where we had our problem. May have to rewind this one too. Yes, indeed. We'll do just that. It was impressive to watch. Into turn number 3, they were side by side, but I went to hell in a handbasket before we got out of the corner. We'll slow things down here. The 71 of Leach in behind Barish. You see Millett there just alongside the 55. Chris Klein's going to follow Millett into the corner. It looks like Leach sees an opening, and he's going to go for it. Try to go up the gut. That door is just starting to close. Barish caught on. See how it looks on corner exit. Looks like Klein comes up just a hair, gets into the left rear. Sends Klein up the racetrack in the 29 of Sperling. Torch gets in it. Morrow gets in it. PJ Cox gets a piece. Jesse Redding gets another chunk of it as well. Skylar Harad's going to get run into. Now, at this point, everybody should be good on fuel. those involved: Chris Klein, Brian Torsha, Skylar Harrod, Connor Leach, Justin Morrow, Brian Torsha. Did I already mention him? Skylar Harrod, Evan Dupre, Jesse Redding. That was a big one. Ken Couch says, I know it's late in the race, but someone should have lifted just a hair. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but it looks like, I mean, again, it's late in the race. It's kind of hard, but you don't want to give an inch. You don't want to concede a position when you think you've got the ability to maintain it. Chris Klein, I think on the bottom there, he slides up the track. Granted, Leach did go 3 wide, but again, I can't fault the guy for going 3 wide when he's got the run, he's got the grip. And a guy like Connor Leach, he's got the talent. He really, truly does. So the top 5 is getting ready to go back racing here at Iowa. Derek Welch, Russ Kilgore, Mark Collins, Zach Millett, Tom Barish. Now Barish having a very strong run here tonight. He's up 19 positions. Certainly going to be a shoe-in for the hard charger if this thing finishes out with him near the top 5. Alfie Charon in 6th. Caleb Sisk won't go away. He's in the 7th spot. PJ Cox 8th. 9th, Brandon Coleman, and Connor Leach still in the 10th spot. Can't kill that truck. That 71 just seems like a tank out there. All right, so into turns 3 and 4. We're going to get the green flag this time by. It'll be 12 laps to go when we go back racing. Derek Welch holds him down once again. These guys are going to try and time this on the 1, I think. Pace truck in pit lane. Into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Russ Kilgore changing lanes here before the start finish. It's going to usher the 315 up the top of the racetrack. Kilgore dives into the inside here, trying to battle for the race lead once again off turn number 2. Kilgore still not quite clear. Yes, he is into turn 3. The 7 back to the race lead here, coming to 11 laps to go. Top 3, Kilgore, Welch, and Millett. Welch seems strong here. He's got a good run out of turn number 2. Maybe a mistake out of the 7. I don't know if he caught the wall or not, but certainly lost the nose on the exit of turn 2. Still has the pace, going to carry the momentum. We saw Derek Welch running this line early, and Zach Millett gets a piece of the wall. Welch slid up the racetrack. I don't know if it took the air off the nose of Zach's truck. 10 laps to go. On board with Derek Welch. Looking back at Zach Millett and Mark Collins. Big lift for Welch there. It's going to open the door for Zach. Starting to wonder if Derek burned the front tires off that truck. He's having to lift quite a bit to keep it from sliding up the racetrack. 9 laps to go. Zach Millett now into the 2nd position. He's going to have to try and reel in Russ Kilgore. Oh, and Kilgore doesn't turn in. He goes up the racetrack, puts it in the fence. I don't know if he was caught looking in his mirror, but on to turn number 2. Now he's side by side with Zach Millett for the race lead. Kilgore way up the racetrack. Millett almost down to the very bottom lane. Off turn number 4, race leader at the line, Zach Millett. First lap led the day with 7 laps to go. Still the battle continues, though. Kilgore with just about a nose out in front, now loses it to Millett off turn number 2. Still side by side, and now finally clear. Crossover coming. Kilgore driving it way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Has to lift. He's going to slide up just a bit, but Millett now to the outside. This is almost going to be better off for the 315, as he's going to have that ability to carry more momentum out of the corner. Puts a truck length now 2 back to the 7 of Kilgore. 5.5 laps to go for Zach Millett. Started from the back here, his win penalty. It's taken him all race long to finally get back towards the front of the field and now leads this race out of turn 4. 5 laps to go for the 315. Four laps to go for Zach Millett, and it continues to stretch that advantage to 0.8. Now almost 0.9 of a second out of turn number 2. Kilgore still trying to run that very, very high line. Now 3 laps to go for Zach Millett. Alfie Charon battling with PJ Cox for position. This would be for the 7th spot. Charon up top in the HBR TV number 9. Cox is going to lose the spot here, and it looks like Brandon Coleman's going to try and go around the outside. Might try to pick up 2 here as he's going to have a big run out of turn 4. Coleman gets alongside. He may take the spot. PJ Cox going to try and mount a charge back. He's going to go around the outside of Alfie Charon as well, as Zach Millett out of turn number 4 sees the white flag. 1 more lap to go from Iowa Speedway. Zach Millett from worst to first. 1 more lap around, and he'll have a checkered flag here at Iowa Speedway. A monumental run out of the 315. He's got 1 seconds back to Russ Kilgore. Into 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag in the air. Zach Millett's going to win it. Kilgore finishes second. Mark Collins comes home in third. Fireworks ignite into turn 3. What a race. What a run for Zach Millett. Big time run. Worst to first. Teammate Alfie Charon coming up to congratulate. And we're on the Legends Oval. Here we go. They talked about this pre-race. I thought they were joking. Guys, we're going to run 10 laps on the Legends Oval in the infield. Millett loses it out of 2. Shortcut. Zach Millett with the race win, and, well, I give it a 9 on the celebration here on the start-finish line. We're going to jump out and get our final break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Iowa Speedway. The Iowa Speedway 140 presented by skunkworksgraphics.com, where all your graphical dreams come true. Finally did that one right. Zach Millett going from the back of the pack all the way to the race win here tonight. A strong run. I think he only led 7 laps, but it's the 7 that counted. Just an incredible run by the 315. Zach and Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Zach, congratulations, man. What a strong finish. It's been a tumultuous week this week after Bristol. Contact with Hunter Parsons coming to the checkered flag last week at Bristol Dirt. You had to start from the rear tonight, took a 5-point penalty. The sponsor jumped off the truck. You got a new sponsor this week, TLDR SimSport, and you put them in victory lane, man. Talk to us about your week. Talk to us about your race and how you managed to come from behind and take the checkered flag here tonight.
Man, I don't know. It was just it was insane tonight. It was so hard to pass. I mean, you could definitely tell the high line was kind of the dominant place to be, so everybody just stayed on it. So in order to pass on the bottom, you really had to get creative. There's a couple of times where I had to kind of jab the brakes, set the truck, and just kind of do a slide job. And I mean, you know me better than anybody. I hate doing that, and that's, I don't know. I just feel like I'm cutting people off, and you know, it's kind of dirty racing. But yeah, after last week, I think this is the race that everybody wanted to see. It was really fun. There was a lot of aggression. I don't know. It was just the best this league can be, man. It was a lot of fun. Starting in the rear was absolutely scary, and I definitely never want to do it again. So let's hope for that.
Well, Zach, maybe you learned your lesson, I guess. You don't have to start in the back if you don't cause trouble, but another race win. Next week, we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm not sure if it's the old layout or the new Super Speedway style layout. Either way, let's get your thoughts on both. I've got a pretty good idea how you feel about the Super Speedway version, but walk us through it if it's going to be on the old layout that's going to chew up tires.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be less than fun on Super Speedway style track. It's kind of like what David Bradford says. I know I say the same thing every time, but you know, you race for an hour and a half just to get wrecked on the last lap, and it's I don't know, it's kind of a helpless feeling just riding behind people, but I don't know, it's fun in its own way, I guess. We're going to try to stay out of trouble, and yeah, like you said, we'll try to stay out of trouble completely, and some people are just better at causing their own trouble than some, but I'm glad we could put TLD SimSport in victory lane tonight. It was really cool to have the new wrap on the truck, and you know, big thanks to Terry Crouch for letting me do that. Bunch of awesome guys over there, super fast guys. So I really appreciate it, and it's all I could do, Terry. We did it, baby.
With that said, Zach, I know with HBR TV jumping off the truck for this particular race, how did the TLDR SimSport deal come together? Did you reach out to Terry? Did you have a discussion?
You know, sometimes whenever Terry races or myself race, we kind of watch each other's race a lot of the time, and we kind of go back and talk about it and how things went, and you know, the reason things happened or whatever. And obviously last week there was a lot to talk about, so he reached out to me, and we were kind of talking, you know, about, you know, the sponsor, you know, jumping off for this race, and yeah, it was kind of perfect timing, you know. They're looking for an oval guy, and I said, hey, I'm kind of an oval guy sometimes. So he was like, hey, let's put that TLDR horsepower hack in that baby and see what we can do. And hell, man, it was a great combination.
Put it in victory lane here. Congratulations, Zach. Who do you want to thank before we let you go?
I got to thank you, Steve, HBR TV, HBRTV1.com, HBRShops.com. I got to thank TLDR Sim Sports, Terry Crouch, for the opportunity. Numb Thumbs Gaming, NTRL, DW, all the admins, Martin Sports, Track Bar Media, Eric Dothan State Farm, Castle Packs Power, Davidson Builders. I got to thank all these guys for racing so damn clean out front here. Great race between Russ and Mark and Derek. I mean, it was insane there at the end, and yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
All right, Zach. Well, thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week out at Hotlanta.
Thanks, brother.
Zach Millett, your race winner here from Iowa. Next, we're going to talk to the 7 Russ Kilgore, a second-place finish that he's bringing home tonight, but it certainly wasn't for lack of trying. A very strong run for Russ Kilgore. Came up one short. Russ, it's Steve with HBR TV in the booth. You got us?
Yep. How you doing, Steve?
Russ, congratulations, man. As we said, one short. It was a hard-fought battle there late with Zach Millett, but you were very strong out there tonight. What was the key to success, and was there anything you could have done differently to hold off that 315?
Yeah, if I wouldn't hit the wall. Yeah, I was looking. He wasn't really catching me, and then I looked down to see how many laps there were. And next thing I know, I was running the wall, and that just killed me. So
we're kind of wondering what the situation was. If you had your eyes up in the mirror or what. If you blew right front, it just looked like he didn't turn. So
yeah, I got a screen off to the right that's got all the all my car info with everything. So I looked over to see how. I'm like, God, we got to be close to the end, and I looked up and couldn't get it off the wall, and it sticks to it. Yeah, it just, oh well, it is what it is. I'll take a second. I'm, after getting caught up in that little wreck with Derek, and truck wasn't too bad, still running pretty decent. Got by him, and I thought we were smooth sailing, so we had pretty good tires. Just, there's that Millett guy, always seems to be up there.
With all that said, a great job to keep your head in it after you got into the wall there to maintain that second position over Mark Collins. Still a strong finish, certainly nothing to be upset about. I know you would wanted that win, but a second place certainly not too shabby.
Oh yeah, nope, I'll take it any day of the week. Get to be my age, man, a top 10 feels really good. So
there you go. Russ, next week we roll into Atlanta Motor Speedway still. I'm not sure, looking at the schedule, if it's the old Atlanta or the new, but either way.
It's the new.
It is the new, all right.
It's the new, yeah.
Super Speedway style racing next week kind of evens the playing field for a lot of these drivers. How do you feel about your odds next week?
Yeah, so I'm in another league on Saturdays, and we just ran that track, and it's near impossible to pass. It's so narrow, and like I say, it's Super Speedway. I ended up winning the All-Star race there just because I got lucky enough to be on the inside front row and restart. Nobody can get by you, so it's gonna be interesting. There's quite a few cautions in that one, so we'll see what happens.
It's all we can do. We look forward to it, Russ.
Yep.
Again, congratulations on the runner-up. Who do you want to shout out to before we get out of here?
Shout out to Derek. It's a great league. Love running with these guys. I learned a ton from watching these guys. And Rod Baker Ford, got him on the back of my truck today. And girlfriend who's out of town, so she couldn't bug me for racing all night. So it's a good night.
Sounds good, Russ. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
You bet. Appreciate it. Thanks, Steve.
Russ Kilgore, your runner-up here at Iowa. Next, we're going to pull the 23 of Mark Collins into the broadcast booth. We've talked to him in the past. It's been a little while, though. Bit of a dry spell for the top three with Mark Collins, but we've got him here in the third position. Mark, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
I got you.
Mark, congratulations, man. A solid run here tonight. It wasn't a luck run. You finished third, but you were up towards the front a lot of the race tonight. Tell us about your evening. Any strategies that you were trying to work? Obviously, this thing ran green for quite a while, and then we blew it all up with a bunch of cautions.
Yeah, I mean, came in like 10 laps after the first pit stop to top off to make it on one more stop, and then they let me run a little bit longer, and then that caution fell and put me in a great spot to stay up front. And then the cautions just kept coming out, and I wasn't burning up the tires as much, so I was able to keep those faster guys behind me a little bit. I mean, they had to work their way through the field, which is what helped me get this position, the top 3.
Well, you got up into that top 3 position, at least in the top 5, and you held on to it. You were there for quite a while. Again, I don't think it was luck. You had a strong run tonight. You seemed to really adapt well to this racetrack. Is this one of your better places or no?
I do better on shorter tracks, I feel. I really like the short tracks. It seems like I have a knack for those better than I do the mile and a halves.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but next week we go to Atlanta Super Speedway. Obviously, a bigger racetrack, wide open most of the way around. How do you feel about your chances out there next week? I know a lot of luck is going to have to come into play.
A lot of luck and being in the right place at the right time.
Well, we certainly look forward to it, Mark. Before we let you get going, who do you want to thank?
Everyone there at Numb, all the admins, and everybody that helps keep this league going, especially DW and everybody over at NTG.
All right, Mark. Well, again, congratulations. A strong run here tonight. Wish you the best of luck next week. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, man.
Mark Collins, your third-place finisher here from Iowa Speedway. With that, let's take a look at our race results. Of course, we talked to our top 3 already. Zach Millett, Russ Kilgore, Mark Collins. That was your top 3 finishers. Fourth place was Derek Welch. Looked like he had a win in the bag, but it just wasn't meant to be. Caleb Sisk, not giving up. You want to talk about hard charging. That guy had been in trouble a couple of times here tonight and continued to press. Still comes home with a top 5 finish, and I'm sure he's pissed about it. This guy, Caleb Sisk, he just needs to win. He likes to go out there and compete, but anything short of victory is just not enough for the driver of that number 6 machine, and I can't say that I blame him. Winning is what makes it fun. Connor Leach finished in the 6th spot. Talk about a guy that wouldn't give up. This guy was involved in a bunch of crashes here tonight. Wouldn't even go in and get the truck fixed and still finishes in the 6th spot. Brandon Coleman finished in the 7th position. PJ Cox was 8th. Alfie Charon comes home in the 9th spot. His namesake, his number's sake for that matter. Tom Barish was 10th. Jeff Ottinger came home in the 11th position. Chris Klein was 12th. Scott Milner, a strong run in the 31. He finished 13th. Evan Dupre came home in the 14th position. 15th place finisher Joe Tucker, after battling out front for a little while early on, involved in a wreck or two, finishes 2 laps down. D. Allen Grote finished in the 16th spot. Skylar Harrod was 17th. Jacob Sperling finished in the 18th spot. Jesse Sperling was 19th. Jesse Redding 20th. And Justin Morrow 21st. A lot of J's all in a row. Brian Torsha breaking it up in the 22nd spot. Paul Durkee 23rd. And Rob Chipman Jr. finishes out in the 24th position. Got to thank you guys all for tuning in here tonight. Iowa, a fun place to watch races at, fun place to call, fun place to race. Certainly a fan favorite as well. And we look forward to next year, 2024, the Cup Series, making its debut here at Iowa Speedway. I hope it's not just a placeholder for a place like Montreal, but we'll see. Nevertheless, they're going to get at least one Cup race out of the deal. We'll see if there's more. As far as us here at HBR TV, once again, congratulations to Zach Millett. We'll see you guys next week at Atlanta Motor Speedway here on HBR TV. If you haven't already liked the stream, please do so. YouTube.com/@HBR TV and the number 1. Also check the website, HBRTV1.com. Got to thank you guys in the stream chat as well for tuning in this evening. Terry Crouch, of course, saying let's go, getting his TLDR Sim Sport colors in victory lane this evening. Zach Millett doing a fantastic job. Again, I think he only led 7 laps, but they're the ones that counted. With all that, we're out of here. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you at the next one. Have a good night.